You're standing in the stone square when the official arrives. Dawn's just breaking. The air smells like dust and packed earth. Around you, maybe 30 other men stand silent. You don't know most of them. Some are older, their skin burnt dark from fieldwork. Some are younger, maybe your age, maybe younger. The official steps down from his horse. He's carrying a scroll. It doesn't feel important until he starts reading names. When he reads yours, your stomach drops. But here's the thing. You already knew. You knew yesterday. You knew last year. You've known your whole life. You're not being told you're a slave today. You're being told what kind of slave you are. So, let's rewind. Let's go back to the beginning and understand how you ended up here, waiting in a Spartan square for an official to remind you that you don't exist. Let's set the scene. You're born into this, or conquered into it. Either way, the outcome is the same. You grow up on Spartan land. The fields belong to the state. The harvest belongs to the state. You belong to the state. You're not a personal slave, some merchant's property he can sell or free whenever he wants. You're a Helot. The name comes from the word for captured, and captured is exactly what you are. A personal slave might earn freedom, might be treated less like livestock, might, if he's lucky, get inherited by someone kinder. You get none of that. You're tied to the land itself. Spartan law is explicit about it. You belong to the state forever. Your children belong to the state. Their children belong to the state. This isn't slavery by circumstance. This is slavery by design. You learn that freedom isn't something you lost. It's something you never had a choice about. Every spring, you work the fields. Half of what you grow goes to the Spartan citizen who oversees your labor. The other half? That's technically yours, but it's not. You need it to eat. You need it to stay alive enough to work next season. The Spartans call this the Helot contribution. They're good at naming things that sound reasonable when you don't think about them too hard. The daily reality crushes any hope of resistance. You wake before sunrise. The land demands work. Your back demands it. Your empty stomach demands it. By noon, the heat is ruthless. By evening, you're bent over until your spine screams. On good days, you eat bread and watered wine. On bad days, you eat less bread and feel the wine burning your empty stomach. But here's the part that breaks something inside you. Somewhere nearby, Spartan boys are training to be warriors. They're eating meat 3 times a week. They're sleeping in stone halls. They're learning to be hard, fierce, invincible, and they're learning all of it on your back. Your labor feeds their strength. Your sweat pays for their training. The Spartans will tell you this is order. This is how a state works. Some people lead, some people follow. Some people work so others can be free. It sounds almost reasonable if you don't think about the fact that you have no say in which category you're born into. Compliance has rules. Breaking them has a price. The Spartans didn't just enslave you. They built a system to keep you broken. They had to. In many regions, Helots outnumber Spartans several times over. The ritual happens every year. Or maybe it's random. You never know when it's coming. That's part of the psychology. You could be pulled from the fields any day. An official arrives. A Spartan boy, maybe 16, maybe 18, stands next to him. The boy is already arrogant. He has the look of someone who's never been told no. They make you drink. Wine, diluted or not. You drink because refusing would be worse. Your mind gets foggy. The edges of the world blur. And then they make you perform. Sing, dance, stumble, beg, act drunk, though you already are. The Spartan boy and his friends laugh. It's educational, they tell you. The boys need to see what degeneracy looks like. They need to understand what happens when a man loses discipline. What they're really learning is that your humiliation is acceptable, that your dignity doesn't matter, that power is the only thing that's real. This isn't cruelty as accident. This is control as policy. Every ritual teaches both the enslaver and the enslaved their place in the hierarchy. Then comes the legal horror. Sparta declares war on you. Not metaphorically, actually, formally. Every year, the state votes to declare war against the Helots. It's written down. It's official. Which means when a Spartan kills you, it's not murder. It's combat. It's justice. You're technically an enemy of the state you've built with your own hands. You learn that your life has no legal protection, only the state's legal permission to end it. And then the Crypteia begins. Young Spartan elites are sent into the countryside, though historians still debate how systematic this practice really was. Some sources describe it as assassination squads hunting Helots at night. Others call it a survival training exercise. The truth probably lives somewhere darker, where the line between training and terror doesn't really exist. You're working late in the fields. The sun's gone. The darkness is complete. And suddenly, you hear footsteps, young voices, laughter that doesn't sound like joy. They could be hunting you, or they could just be passing through. You'll never know until they decide to stop. And if they stop, it's already too late. Until one of them decides that killing you counts as coming of age. After that, the terror never stops. Every shadow could be a blade. Every sound could be the end. You thought Sparta was abs, glory, and heroic speeches. That's Hollywood. This is the part they leave out. You find a runaway in the fields, begging for water. They're Helot like you. They took their chances. Now they're asking for yours. Hide them and risk your life. Report them and betray your own. Run with them and become hunted prey yourself. 3 paths, none of them clean. Drop hide, report, or run in the comments right now. If you're still watching this, you're already part of the story. So hit subscribe. You've survived the system at home. Now the system takes you to war. When Sparta mobilizes for battle, everything changes. The warriors march out in their bronze armor, shields gleaming, spears polished. They look invincible. They look like gods. Behind them march the porters. That's you. You're not carrying a weapon. You're carrying theirs. Armor, food, shelter, everything. You're hauling equipment that weighs more than you do, trudging behind lines of warriors who will be remembered in songs. You will be remembered in records, if you're remembered at all. The movie shows you the warriors, 300 Spartans standing at Thermopylae, defiant against impossible odds. Heroic, disciplined, magnificent. What the movie doesn't show is the thousands of enslaved men carrying their gear. Invisible logistics, necessary ghosts behind every Spartan shield. You don't get armor because the state needs you alive, just alive enough to carry. You get a tunic and sandals, and the understanding that if you slow down, you're left behind. If you're left behind, you die. Not in battle, just forgotten in some field, your body joining the dust. The death toll among porters exceeds the warriors. Always. But Spartan historians don't count those deaths the same way. A warrior who dies defending the state is a martyr. A porter who dies carrying supplies is a casualty of logistics. You learn that you're essential to their power and utterly disposable in their eyes. Then comes the moment that breaks something in you. A Spartan warrior falls in battle. His leg is shattered. He's screaming for help, for water. But the other warriors ignore him. That's the Spartan way. Leave the wounded, keep moving. And you're blamed anyway. Maybe you didn't carry enough supplies. Maybe you moved too slowly. Maybe if you'd been faster, this wouldn't have happened. The logic doesn't matter. You're the available target. You're the one with no voice. Or worse, you witness a Helot uprising. Other enslaved people have had enough. They're running, organizing. The state crushes them. Then Sparta forces you to participate in the executions, to watch your own people die, to help kill them. You're given a choice: comply and betray, or resist and join them in the grave. Sparta built an empire on discipline, equality, and simplicity. All of it made possible by you doing the work they refused to do. All of it maintained by constant threat of death. All of it celebrated in stories that erase you completely. You're not fighting for Sparta. You're fighting to survive Sparta. Sparta's greatest achievement wasn't military dominance or the 300 at Thermopylae. It was building a state that depended entirely on your erasure while celebrating its own freedom. Discipline, equality, simplicity, all of it made possible by you doing the work they refused. The warriors are remembered in songs. You're forgotten in silence. But history is full of empires like this. Stories where the heroes stand in the spotlight and the people holding the whole system together disappear into the shadows. History remembers the warriors, but the shadows remember everyone else. And once you start looking for them, you begin to see them everywhere. If you're curious what other lives history buried, there's another story waiting for you. Subscribe so you don't miss the next one.